In today's episode, we're going to be talking about responsibility and the responsibility of taking on siblings when your parents no longer want to or can look after them. G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Arsehole. Now if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for it, cause it's surprisingly good. Thank you. Am I the arsehole for kicking out my teen sister and refusing to take her in? So I, 23 female, recently moved out of my parents into a 2-bedroom apartment with my son who is 2 years old. My parents then decided to move to a place 1 hour away to get away from city life. My sister, 15 female, is in high school, and she aspires to go to med school. Her school gives students the option to have online classes or go in every day. For some reason, she hates studying at home and wants to go in, so she'll stay with me during the week and go home every Friday. We're still trying this out, and this has been the second week, but I had a feeling since the beginning that it wouldn't work. My relationship with her has always been kind of off. There's a 7-year age gap, we've never fought, but never been friends either. We're like strangers. Except I'd never treat a stranger the way she treats me. She's a typical teen. Won't look up from her phone, and any questions you ask her will be answered with an eye roll in an annoyed tone. She's also condescending, mean, and unnecessarily rude to me. Doesn't pick up after herself, and generally speaking, she's not a joy to be around. Having her in my apartment just adds a huge load of stress on top of my home office, online classes, as I'm in law school, taking care of my kid, and taking care of house chores. I go to work once a week, every Wednesday, and by 5 p.m. there was a lot of traffic, so I called my sister to pick up her nephew from daycare on her way home. His center is literally on my street, and she walks right by it and said that I was already on my way. She sighed and answered that she couldn't because she had Muay Thai. I thought it was strange because gyms are closed. So I picked him up half an hour later, went to the supermarket to pick up things for dinner, and when we got home, we found her in the living room, having an online Muay Thai class. Her clothes were all over the bathroom floor, and she'd left the kitchen a mess since the morning, and that was the breaking point for me. She couldn't do a simple favor, and she doesn't do the bare minimum either. I told her to pick up her stuff and ready her bag to take to school tomorrow because she'd be going home from there, and I called my parents to pick her up. They tried to reason with me, but I was irate at that moment. She didn't even answer, just rolled her eyes at me again and locked us out of the living room until the next morning. I woke up and saw that she hadn't taken her stuff with her, so I picked everything up, put it in her bag and left it at the front desk of the building and asked the doorman not to let anyone in. I called my mum again, and she and dad told me I was being unfair and petty, and that I shouldn't act out of anger. They also said that I had an obligation to take care of my sister, but I know that I don't. I finished by saying they'll either have to pick her up at school or she can stay with one of her friends, and I don't care, and I hung up. I can't turn off my phone because I use it for work, and I don't want to block anyone because I don't want my sister to stay on the street too long or anything, but I want to follow through with my decision. Am I the arsehole? Info, we did set out house rules, which were the same that she had back in our parents' home. She knows what her chores are, and do I really have to ask a 15-year-old to not leave stuff on the floor right by the laundry basket? I did tell her and our parents by the end of the first week that it wasn't going to work if she kept up her behavior, and that I wouldn't want to take her in anymore. They are not helping with the cost of keeping her. They gave her an allowance that she kept to herself. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the arsehole. I think I might be the arsehole because I'm acting out of anger, and we don't have other family that she can stay with. Look, I get why you're acting out of anger, but I do believe that your anger is very much justified in this situation. She couldn't do the bare minimum of walking down the street, grabbing the nephew, and coming back home. That takes 5 to 10 minutes at max. That's not a huge effort, and I'm sure that she won't miss any of her Muay Thai class. She knows what her obligations are, yet she chooses not to do them, and I also get the argument. She's 15 years old, we don't always understand, and we need more chances to understand those lessons and to learn those lessons. She did have 2 weeks of warning before this though, and she knows what her sister is like, and she knows that the sister will not take her bullcrap. OP, you say that she doesn't have other family to stay with. That's a lie. She has 2 parents she can go and stay with. Yes, those parents are an hour away, but it's obvious that this situation isn't sustainable, and the solution is to kick her out. If she doesn't want to change and respect your house, your rules, and your child, this is the consequence of those actions, unfortunately. I'm going with not the asshole. Now in the comments, the last Basilope says, not the asshole. Someone needs to show your sister that her actions have consequences, and it sounds like your parents don't do that. Maybe if she has to do online classes for a few weeks, she'll develop a better attitude. This. Also, I know it's a stereotype, but plenty of teenagers are kind, empathetic people. No excuse to be a dick. Although I do think other commenters have made great points that the patient zero for dickish behavior here is the parents. Since empathy tends to be a trait that is developed more through socialization than inherent to a person, I'd wager her behavior is because she's spoiled. A lot of people just side-eye teens who act like bratty assholes and say they'll grow out of it, and move on. So a lot of people don't really start to learn how to not be a giant asshole to people over the slightest inconvenience until they're forced to deal with others who won't give them a free pass. It's true that they'll grow out of it in college. No one gives a crap about you in college, and if you don't want your social life to suck, then you'll be nice to people. I was a teaching assistant at my university for 4 semesters. At any given time, the university had roughly 32,000 undergrad students. With grad students, there are about 50,000 students total. Unless you play basketball, you're not going to stand out. The class I teaching assisted for was popular with freshmen and sophomores because I met the Gen Ed lab science requirements without scary stuff like math. Every semester, I watched students learn that they're not special snowflakes that are going to be cherished and nurtured at every turn, and whatever tactics they might have used to employ in the past to get bent rules were not going to work here. I have even had parents call me to beg, manipulate, and demand special treatment for their kid. Most kids adapted relatively quickly, but every semester there were 1 or 2 that either expected special treatment, thought there were a big fish in a little pond, or both. I do not care who your father is. I don't care about your SAT score. Do your work when you're asked and we're good. And Loxpoxmox says, not the asshole. Ultimately, you're not her parent. This situation has probably changed from what either you expected, and you've taken on roles you didn't intend to take. Seeing that she has the online option, she can return to the parent's home. And honestly, it seems like no one is this kid's parent. Her actual parents have taken OP's moving out as an opportunity to move somewhere they prefer to live, with the assumption that OP's sister will just transition to school online for the rest of her high school career. There doesn't seem to be a lot of concern for the fact that they yanked the sister out of her environment. The parents also seem to expect OP, who is in her early 20s, attending law school and a single, parenting a toddler, to simply take on the financial responsibility for the sister because that is what is more convenient for the parents. I get that teenagers can be a total pain in the ass, but if I felt like no one cared about me, I'd act like an asshole too. These parents were basically like, cool, the 23-year-old moved out. Let's do what we want to do and let the 15-year-old sort herself out. And yeah, seriously, not to make excuses for the bad behavior, but her parents basically threw her away. Of course she's going to be upset and act out. And now on to the update. Hey there, I'm updating to let everyone know what happened Friday and to give more info. Maybe I didn't make it very clear in my post, but my sister went to school in the morning, I left her stuff at the front desk for her, and our dad drove down to pick her up from school and take her home. And I was so anxious about the situation that I couldn't even get to work until I knew they were on their way there. I didn't throw her out into the streets. My mother was furious, and I hate confrontation, but I had to be firm and tell her that I'm not taking her in anymore. It doesn't matter if she changes, I won't have it. I'm not one to give second chances, and honestly, we'd be just accommodating her preferences at the cost of my mental health, which I'm already struggling with. She didn't even want to speak to me when we FaceTimed last night. People in the comments were pissed that my parents weren't even covering her expenses here, but I'm honestly not caught up on that. I only wanted their gratitude. Honestly, the way they treat me is inexcusable, and I see that now. It's not like she was orphaned and we had to go live with a distant relative who she hates. I won't back down on my decision. I tried to do a huge favor for her, and she just took it for granted. My sister is spoiled and a brat, and I'm sorry I said she's a typical teen because her behavior is not normal or acceptable. She has Regina George complex and is just a total tramp. I hope this little experiment helps her grow up. So yeah, my parents wanted to move in the middle of a pandemic and just took my sister away from the place she grew up in and from her dream school. I'm just sorry that they screwed her over by making her a brat in the first place. She will have to take it in stride, have online classes, and it won't be the end of the world. She'll even get her dream room or whatever. Some tiny amount of info about the move. They'd been considering it for a while, to be honest, because they're in love with that town. The virus is more under control there, it's up in the mountains, and they found a perfect house. Me moving out was the one condition that allowed them to go through with it, and also my dad's totally going through his midlife crisis. They didn't just get up and leave, but my sister fussed a lot about it, and that's why I offered to have her in the city with me. Bottom line is, she took that for granted and she lost it. I'm going low contact, maybe no contact with them for a while. I'm just too busy to deal with any drama right now. Some days I'm too busy to stop to breathe. My university is cramming up 3 terms in 1 year to make up for the time lost to the virus. Thank you everyone, for the awards and for the input, for helping make up my mind and for distracting me all day while I was distraught and anxious about what I'd done. Knowing my parents, this won't be the end of it. Hope everyone's well. Now in the comments, I saw your original post and I'm glad to hear that you stood your ground and will be prioritizing your own family, yourself and your son, and your own mental health and well-being. You clearly are a strong person, and your son is lucky to have you as a mom. Best of luck with your studies. Say to them, I'm not responsible for my sister. You are responsible for your daughter. I chose to try a solution that is best for her because I love her, but that solution did not work. I cannot be her parent for you while pursuing your own life, and I will not give up my life only to be treated this way. End of conversation, and until your parents understand this, low contact or no contact is the way. Good luck to you, and keep pursuing your dream. Your sister lost a privilege, and your parents are lashing out at you for their failure. Your mother's reaction is inexcusable. Though you're okay with them not financially compensating you for taking care of your sister, it just highlights how negligent they are as parents. It's clear that they have other priorities in their lives and found you convenient. Good on you for actually following through on setting difficult boundaries. You will thank yourself for doing this for many months to come. Our next post is by user Sister Essay, titled, Am I the asshole for forgetting to help my sister with her essay? So I'm my baby sister's legal guardian. I've only been her guardian since June, so I'm still learning how to do this. She's struggling in school and just barely passing her classes. She's at the point where if she fails another class, she has to do another semester of high school. She's in a support class at school, and I have a tutor come in once a week, plus I try to help her when I can. She told me on Friday, April 2nd, that she has this huge essay due on the 8th, and that she's clueless on how to do it, and asked me to help her with it. It was her spring break, so no support class, and her tutor went on vacation. I've been crazy busy with school and work. I'm a nurse, and in school to be a nurse practitioner. But I had Sunday off, so I offered to help her after we have lunch with her grandparents. And then on Saturday, I remembered that I had plans with friends on Sunday, so I told my sister that I was busy on Sunday, but I promised that I'd find some other time to help her. On Thursday night, she started crying and yelling at me because her essay was due the next day, and she hadn't started because I haven't been available to help her. I emailed her teacher and asked her for an extension and explained that I haven't been able to help her and she doesn't understand how to do her essay. The teacher gave her until Sunday. On Sunday, I had to work a double shift at the hospital and was gone from 6 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. When I came home, my sister was crying because she only had 2 sentences done on her essay and it was due in half an hour. I emailed my teacher again and she gave us until yesterday. My sister was able to get a full hour and a half to work one-on-one with the teacher in her support class. There's 3 teachers and 7 students, so she usually gets some one-on-one time, but not the entire period. They finished the essay with her tutor and was able to turn it in on time. After school yesterday, my sister came up to me and said I should have told her if I didn't want to help her with her essay. I told her I did want to help, but I was just busy with school and work and I forgot. She's been in her room since and won't let me in, so I wanted to know if I'm the arsehole. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the arsehole. I think I might be the arsehole because I broke my promise to my sister and wasn't able to help her with her essay. Yeah, I think that's pretty clear cut. I feel like you don't need to go too deep into this one. You broke your promise and continually forgot on multiple occasions to help her with her essay. That's completely on you. You're at fault for this one. It seems like she really needs extra support to get all this done and you couldn't be there for her. So yes, you're the arsehole. Now in the comments, HuskerCard123 says, "You're the arsehole. You promised something to her, then bailed because you remembered you'd rather be with friends. Then you just kept not helping. Day after day, while this kid waits for you and gets more and more scared. Thank God for the saint of a teacher who dealt with this, and the teacher that stepped in and helped her. You really need to consider these things before you promise someone that sounds fragile to begin with." This is when I wish there was a "you're not the arsehole, but you sure messed up." You're gonna get a lot of "you're the arsehole, but you're not, and here is why." You actually tried helping her by emailing her teacher and getting them to extend the dates, and 99% of the time you were working, and your sister should have asked someone for help. But you should have cancelled that event with your friends because your sister's grade isn't the best, and this is a big assignment. I get not wanting to cancel with friends, but you're her legal guardian and should have cancelled. Also, just ignore the post putting words in your mouth. You never said you liked your friends more, and taking care of her obviously means you love her. This is powerful. Definitely OP has a learning curve with her priorities, and I think there should be a conversation when her sister calms down about how they can meet in the middle and navigate their new normal together. But most of us who were raised from birth by our parents didn't see their royal screw-ups. Acknowledging that OP messed up, but still tried in their own way to help, is important. And with this life lesson, they will continue to improve for their sister. The situation was definitely stressful and sucked, but there's always the chance to recover. And now on to the update. So it's been a few days since my original post, and I wanted to update y'all on our situation. My sister is obsessed with Lush products, but she always says she can't justify spending money on herself, so she rarely uses their product. So I went to Lush and got her a gift box full of bath bombs and bubble bars and soaps and bath melts and body butters, and I left a note on top saying that I'm sorry and asked her to talk to me. I told her that after this semester ends next month, I'm going to take a break from school so I can have time for myself and can focus on her. She was completely against it, but eventually gave in when she realized I'll get to spend more time with her than a few minutes after school and tucking her in at night. Now she's on board and excited for the semester to end. About her essay, she got a B-, and that's huge for her. I promised her that I'll take her out to eat on my next day off as a reward. And to the people who said that if I can't handle being her guardian, I should put her in foster care or find another relative to take care of her, there's no way in hell I'm letting that little girl go anywhere. I've been taking care of her for 10 months and I made one mistake. I love her more than anything, and she knows that. Now in the comments, LazyShift1500 says, "That's a great update. Take the semester for you guys to find your rhythm and then head back. Ignore those saying foster care. With a transition that big, it takes a minute to find your footing. Good luck to you both." And OP wanted to say my parents had me in their 30s, were financially secure and pretty level-headed. They make some whoppers of mistakes. There is no manual. We moved past this because they would own up, apologize, and explain where and why they went wrong. I've always been pretty forgiving and not resentful because of this open communication. Ultimately, I understand every mistake they've made was them attempting to act in my best interests, or the occasional whoops, I'm a fallible human being too. Sounds like you're going down the same path, and I'm happy and proud of you for it. Well done, and all the best. OP, I agree with everything in this. Reading this comment made me think about something. If you will forgive unsolicited advice, be careful about tying together presents and apologies. I don't think that you did anything wrong here. I just think that it's really important not to have this be your ongoing practice. You did a lot of great things in your apology, really reflected on what you messed up and the impact it had, thought about how to make real changes to prevent it in the future, and showed your sister that she matters. Those are the things that you need to keep doing. Separately, giving your sister presents and showing her how much you love her is really important. If you typically do those things together, you'll be setting up a bad power dynamic and undermining the message that you want to send her. Presents tied to apologies routinely don't communicate that you care. It communicates that you don't want to feel bad, and it'll make her associate gifts with negative things. Again, I don't think it's bad that you did it this time, just something to think about as a new parent and guardian. And I wish you both all the best. I had my kiddo pretty damn young and made so many mistakes. I always felt we grew up together, and she's doing so well in life despite me, lol. This is just to say breathe, and find your path with your sister. Be honest with her. She'll understand when you're unsure or forgetful. You love each other, and you were there for her. Don't sweat the small stuff. Give yourself grace and expect it from your sister. Give it back to her tenfold. You got this, and good luck to you both. And Leather Daddy Longleg says, "This is such a lovely update to read. It sounds like she's in a good spot having you as her person, hard as it may be for both of you. A word of advice from a stepmom who acquired anxious kids very suddenly: don't ever use the word promise unless it's something that you can 100% achieve or that you will run yourself into the ground to make good on. The kids trust me that if I say maybe, it may not happen, and I have a good reason, but they know if I promise it, it will absolutely be done in the time frame I stated. It's so valuable to have that trust that you can key in with one word, especially for anxious developmental kids. Good luck to you, and I hope you have some support for yourself, and I wish you both all the best." And OP replies, "I can make the dinner thing happen. I'm not working on Friday, so I have a fun night planned for us." Anyway guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you did like it, tell me what you thought about it down in the comments below, and make sure to just interact with everyone in this community. I love each and every one of you that I get to see on a daily basis. And don't forget, if you are a Patreon subscriber, I love you. You're on the screen right now with the YouTube members as well. If you see yourself, give yourself a pat in the back. You guys help me continue this YouTube journey. You keep me going. I see you guys everywhere. I see your messages, and thank you so much for supporting me. I really love every single one of you. But with that all said, I'm going to be signing off now, guys. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.